Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: Ex-cons of Reddit. What's the most terrifying thing you saw inside of prison? I saw someone take a hot pot, fill it up with baby oil, add a pound of sugar, add some magic shave, bring it to a boil, then splash it in a person's face. It literally melted the guy's face off. This happened around 1999 and I still have the occasional nightmare about it. What does the magic shave do? Helps shave the face off a little cleaner. Chemical burn. It's a hair removal powder that you mix with water into a paste. It's typically marketed towards black men because it's made for their coarser facial hair. I heard about it from friends who were using it for their pubes. Fun fact, if you have a vulva, you really don't want that on your inner labia. I may be speaking from experience. I was going to say the magic shave probably was unnecessary, but then I realized it's basically air and that could definitely add to the damage. Yeah, it was fucking horrific to see. Over here it's just sugar and water. You guys are too fancy. Oil gets hotter than water, so I imagine that is why he used the oil. Just the way that some people talk about murder. Some of the people in there would be telling a story, casually drop the fact that they killed someone, then keep going on with the story like nothing happened. Those cool times when you get moved into a new cell and you're like, what's up, what's your story? Murder charges. Oh yup, cool. He was actually the best chelly I ever had. The worst was the one who had unpaid child support as part of his thing. He was also a meth dealer, and he would not stop talking about how unfair it was for him to be responsible for his 47 children from 23 different mothers. Bro lifer chellies are the best. Had to anytime something was found in the cell they took the blame, didn't matter if it was mine, just so I wouldn't get extra time added to mine. Solid fuck guys. When I was doing criminal defense, a judge once told me murder suspects are often decent people because they are not regulars in the criminal justice system that are always breaking the law. Not prison but courthouse holding cells. Was in for a drunken fight myself, as was pretty much all of the 8 guys I was sharing that cell with. All of us were worn out / hungover or shaking for a fix, except this one guy who was acting happy because he was up first and, in his words, going to be the first to get a smoke, which he was happy about. Being locked up in those cells, it's not rare for people to chat a bit, since we had all been in solitary police station holding cells before, usually what are you in for type small talk. Well, this happy guy didn't know what he had done but knew he couldn't remember the last couple of days, so assumed it was drunken behavior of some sort. He was the first to see his lawyer and came back white as a sheet, not talking and just staring at the wall until one of the guys got him to talk. Turned out he had got blind drunk with added Valium found on him, got in a fight and lost, gone home and come back with a kitchen knife and a kettle full of sugar water, stabbed a random guy and thrown the kettle into the bar, scalding multiple people, plus the guy he stabbed was in hospital in critical condition and he was up on multiple counts of assault with intent to injure, serious bodily harm, possession of a deadly weapon, possession of a controlled substance and attempted murder. He was not going to be first out for a smoke and was looking at a long prison sentence. Went from cock of the walk to hollow in all of 20 minutes. I'd seen a lot of shit, but I've never seen someone get the look of having lost their entire life like that. That is wild. An old neighbor of mine took a bunch of Zark spars and who knows what else and decided to drive. He came home, went to sleep. The next morning the cops were outside. Street cam saw him straight up run over and kill a woman. Didn't slow down. He had zero recollection. I was told the story from his older brother who he lived with. The brother was completely broken over it. Zarks is one of those drugs I will never do again. All I remember is popping a few pills right before a night of going out. Next thing I know, I'm waking up on my couch at like 1 in the afternoon. Absolutely zero recollection of the past 12 hours. I cannot stress that enough. Absolutely. Zero memory. Dude in the cell next to mine tried to kill himself with a sharpened pencil. He just kept stabbing himself in the chest but couldn't get deep enough. He was hauled off by cos, kicking and screaming, begging for death. He was going to be deported. Wonder what he was so scared of back home. Not jail, but I knew somebody that was locked up in juvie who was connected to the cartel. Apparently he got into deep shit when he lost hella product and the cartel was just waiting for his ass to come out that MF. They killed his mom while he was on the phone with her. He tried everything in his power to stay locked up because it was safer than going back home. A white kid get absolutely destroyed for accidentally sitting on the front bench of the TV area on his second day. They waited for Rec, then started walking with him. Every lap they made, more guys would tag along. Then once in the blind spot they jumped him. 6 to 7 guys beating a 120-pound skinny little white kid. They were climbing up the fence and jumping down on his head. He was out within the first few seconds, but they kept on beating him until the cause gassed everyone. They snapped his lower back and he is now in a wheelchair. All for not knowing any better. The worst thing I've ever heard was a grown man being raped one night. He refused to pay a protection fee and 3 dudes raped him. They stabbed him in the ass with a toothbrush shank. I've seen some crazy shit, but theirs were the most memorable. Sometimes I have nightmares about the rape. I've never heard anything like that ever since. Fuck. So, is there no sense of discretion, or context to any given situation amongst the inmates? Like, in my mind I'd expect the experienced guys to just think, okay, he fucked up but he's just a kid on day 2, we can let it slide. In a normal setting all these things would have been discussed. But, for whatever reason I guess they were waiting for the next day to tell him the rules. He sat in the bench waiting for breakfast, and the one guy who saw him is the one guy who thinks he's in a movie. Any little thing that guy would dramatically freak out and demand a discipline. He had all the others dudes scared and they just did what he wanted. It was a really sad situation. I felt partially responsible because I chose not to lace the kid up. I just thought his cellie or the closest white guy to him would let him know. When I saw him come on the unit I knew he would be preyed upon, and I just thought someone would have let him know what's up. From that time on I kinda made myself the welcome wagon, and I'd let them know what's up while they were still unpacking their property. This was at the Darigto unit in Brazoria County, Texas. So how do you avoid that? Do you pay the protection fee? Is that something that everyone does, or does that show weakness and they'll keep coming back to you for more? Like, how do you avoid any of what you mentioned? Is it possible to just keep to yourself and not fuck with anyone? I feel like as a new guy everyone is just gonna come fuck with you. I'm genuinely curious. Word got out that he came from money, so they tried to make him put money on their commissary or he'd get hurt. He refused. They hurt him. Depends on the yard and the prison. I did my time on a low-level yard. Everyone was going home at some point and didn't want to risk it. I kept to myself 99% of the time. My brother is doing time on a level 5 yard and had to click up to make it without being extorted. A guy got stomped to death my first day in. The 2 guys fighting were rival gang members. The guards didn't do anything until the guy getting stomped stopped breathing. Then they came in and took them both away. One in a bag and one in cuffs. Any idea what may have caused it? They were in different cells and always talking shit to each other. When we had rec time they both ran at each other. They were both pretty big. One picked up the other and slammed him on the concrete and proceeded to kick him in the stomach and face until he was unconscious. Then started stomping on his face. Until he was dead. The stomping, I'd wager. A dude got 2 full kettles of boiling water poured on his head. And a convicted murderer explaining how he killed, dismembered with an angle grinder, then disposed of the body. It must have been tense waiting for that kettle to come to a boil for the second round. Okay, so unfortunately, my bunk was close to the corner where everybody came to fight or whatever. So this one guy claimed that he was a gang member, but it was discovered that he was a false flagger. So, the gang members put him in the corner and took turns beating and raping him. He was in the infirmary for about a week. When he came back, the gang got him all over again. He was transferred after that. I promise there aren't many things more terrifying than hearing a grown man scream while he's being raped. The poor man. I don't understand how rapes and beatings happen. Where are the guards? My friend is a guard and she said that she can't have hair clip or chewing gum. Apparently, some prisoners will put gum into the lock of the door so guards can't get out of the room. Honestly, once the lights go out, the guards don't care much. People could get raped in prison every night, and by the time the guard gets to where the screams are coming from, all the evidence is most likely gone. And also usually it's not just rape because they cut your asshole before doing it. Oh, there's the thing I didn't need to learn today. Damn. What? Okay, that's enough internet for me today. Thanks everyone, it's been great. Bruh, why did you open this thread if you weren't prepared to hear stories of prison rape? That is literally the first thing people think of when they speculate on horrible things that happen in prison. I wish I could tell you that guy fought the good fight, and the gang let him be. I wish I could tell you that, but prison is no fairy tale world. I did a 4-month stint in Kajag, Malaysia. This Nigerian dude used to pilfer from other cells. This Malay gang found him and dipped his hand in boiling oil, basically deep fried it while it was still attached to him. That scream, it still curdles my blood. Poor guy was reduced to a mucosious pool of blood, sweat, tears, vomit, shit and piss. He lost more than his hand on that day.